Is Delhi better than Mumbai?
Play the theme music. Hello and welcome to this episode of Tripology. I'm Alan and I'm here with the ever-trusting Adam.
I am, mate. I'm really glad that you think that of me. I am. But as we said at the beginning of the episode, right at the beginning, I've just got back from a little trip to Delhi, which was amazing. Somewhere you've been.
I've been to Delhi. I flew into Delhi when I first came from Nepal.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you're maybe the guy to speak to. But there's a couple of stories I'm going to tell you in this episode where my trusting nature got me into a little bit of trouble on a couple of occasions, and you weren't there to put your arm around me and teach me these traveller ways.
Yeah, because you are the ever-trusting Adam. I'm the ever-skeptical Alan. So without me, it's just a whole lot of trust.
Yeah, I think that you often are... Yeah, a little bit more cynical, a bit sceptical. You think maybe you're just more realistic.
Just not as nice of a person.
No, you just understand that not everyone out there is trying to be nice to you or me, and I am somewhat optimistic.
I'm danger aware.
Yeah. And I think that with that mindset, you have the ability to, or let's say me, for example, there are some opportunities that are created and then experiences that I have because I believe in ultimate good, I guess. Unfortunately, sometimes it means that I've got to manage situations where if I'd been a little bit more like you, I would have had my guard up and then wouldn't have gone as far as to end up in a situation that maybe involves,
All right, well, spill the dial.
Shall we do it?
What sort of situations have you got yourself into?
So wanted to go to Delhi, right? As you know, we're in Mumbai.
Yeah.
So took the flight over. The flight is where it started, right? Because we do.
Always a good sign.
Yeah, it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes an hour and 50 minutes, depending on the wind.
Okay, how was the wind?
It was fine. Hour and 50 minutes for us.
Perfect.
But it was a really early flight, and we left, I think it was about 6:30. And as we know, I don't sleep that much. But I thought, how amazing. What I can do when I land in Delhi, I've got about 24 hours to play with.
Right.
And you said, why don't you use that first day to go to Agra?
Yeah, just get the Taj Mahal out of the proverbial
Off the
way.
bucket list, tick it off.
Yeah.
But what that meant was basically waking up at 4 o'clock to get to the airport, 4:30. I thought there's a little 2 hours on the plane where I can have a snooze.
A little sleep.
We
a
do-
little bit of airplane somnambulism. A lot of people talk a big game about the Mile High Club. For me, the Mile High Club is the ability to fall asleep up on that plane.
Yeah.
That, for me, is the holy grail.
Getting some Z's up on the plane.
Exactly.
But you're able to do that. I'm not necessarily able to do that. And then I've already had a coffee by this point, by the way. So we're in the air, and I thought I'll just get my head down. And I'm not that tall. I'm short enough just to fold the table down in front and use it as a kind of pseudo pillow, like a platform to rest on.
That requires quite good spinal flexibility.
Yeah, or just a really awkward position that is probably not what you want to be doing first thing in the morning before you've then got to get to Delhi and then go to Agra.
Yeah.
So
It's also instant death in the event of turbulence, if you think about it.
Is it? Is it not close enough to the brace position, which we were led to believe is going to be the saviour?
No, the brace position's not for safety. The brace position's
Heard it
for
here first.
dental record.
Okay.
Look, so you're laying with your head on the tray.
Yeah, and I've got one arm as well, just using it to rest on because my arm is softer than the table.
It's quite a lot of belief in what essentially amounts to a plastic hinge. Okay.
Yeah, and it's also a belief in the person in front of me to not move their chair back, because this is a chat that's happened before on the podcast, isn't it? About the person in front of you on a plane. I would quite like it if they, maybe just considered the person behind them a little bit more than they seem to.
Okay, so how did it go, the whole tray table situation?
I was there trying to get my Z's, trying to get some sleep in because I had a big day ahead of me. And I'm sleeping with I managed to fall asleep, but then I was woken up by the person in front of me bashing their chair backwards so hard that they were like, obviously the reason they couldn't get it back was because I had wedged myself in a position.
Oh,
that was
you were
almost,
preventative.
yeah, well, you know, like
Amazing.
some people wedge a door shut by
Yeah.
putting like a stick or whatever in between a wall and the door.
Yeah.
So even if the door's unlocked, you still couldn't open it because there's nowhere
You
for it to
would
go.
become the stick.
I'd become the stick.
Amazing.
And the guy was stopping at nothing to try and bash his chair back, even to the extent where my arm, because I was asleep, had dropped in between that gap between the chair and the frame of the table.
Right.
And my arm was stuck in the gap. At the elbow, he was... I've never ever seen anyone with so much sort of like vigor and aggression.
Because he just thought there was a manufacturing issue with
Yeah.
the seat. He thought it was a technical issue.
Yeah, for some reason the chair won't go back far enough. But I didn't say anything.
Right.
Because
But is it not painful for
It
you?
was very painful. I was half asleep. But
Why aren't you saying anything?
I thought he would stop and then he didn't stop. But he was leaving gaps in between him jolting the chair back, which suggested to me that he was probably looking through the gap in the seats behind him, realising that I was there. Because you can do that, can't you? You can see that there's someone behind you.
You can, yeah.
And then just choosing to completely ignore it and still do it.
He thought this person will wake up eventually if I make enough of a din.
That's exactly what I thought. I don't know why someone would be like that, but you know, not to make this like a cultural thing or whatever, but it is quite funny observing the behaviour of some certain people on aeroplanes.
Certain people behaving badly on the planes.
I would say, I've said this to other people in India, right? Both foreigners and Indian people.
Yeah.
India is the only country I've ever flown into where people get up off their seats when the plane is still taxiing to where it's going to park.
try and get their luggage.
It's crazy.
It's insanity. Yeah. But this is the thing that I often get frustrated by on planes and in airports. It's like, we know now as a culture, as a society,
Yeah.
remain seated until the plane door is open and people are actively going off.
Yeah.
Stay sat down. The incessant need of people to stand up as soon as the plane's landed or as soon as it's finished taxiing or whatever. Absolutely, they'll be stood up for sometimes north of 15 minutes. Yeah. Stay sat down.
I know. You can't get off the plane that much quicker.
I've had situations where the plane's landed, it's taxied, and we're sat there on the runway.
Right.
And I've been on the aisle seat, and the people left of me are like wanting to get up. Clearly,
Oh, no.
and like stepping over me. And then they've ended up stood to the right of me, waiting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm still sat down.
Yeah. It's like that, you know, a twat driving past you and then getting stopped at a red light.
Yeah.
Just in front of you, think.
We know now it's optimal just to remain seated.
Yeah.
So anyone listening to this podcast, if you're a get-upper as soon as you get on the runway,
Yeah, or a seat basher backer.
now you know. Now you know.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
So that was that. So obviously exited the plane with a bit of a headache. What's it called? Disembark.
Yeah.
It's the only time you hear that, really, isn't it? With a plane, a disembarkation.
Any vehicle.
Is it?
Disembark a ferry, disembark a plane.
Stand corrected.
It's an en-mask vehicle thing, right?
Okay.
You don't disembark a car.
No.
I would say if there's more than 10 people in the vehicle, you're in disembarkment threshold.
You can then use that phrase.
Yeah.
But anyway, this isn't going to be the only time that transport features on this episode, because I've got another one for you. And it's going to be interesting to get your opinion on this, because I think it happens incredibly rarely.
Shoot. I'm ready.
So what I had to do, I had to traverse the city of Delhi, and I went back to square one, mate, because Mumbai, let me tell you, pretty easy to get around.
You feel comfortable. You're confident.
And I feel comfortable, and I feel sort of safe. And we live in at the moment, we're staying in quite a nice area of
The
Mumbai.
Beverly Hills of Mumbai.
And then I went back to not knowing the city. I would say that the people in Delhi, first impressions, okay, don't want to step on any toes, seem a little bit more aggressive, a bit more like London would be, or Paris, you know.
How does that manifest itself?
Well, people just seemed very assertive. Like, I'm talking about business owners, tuk-tuk drivers, people in the street that you might meet. They're all in a rush to get places and bash you out the way. And I just felt, maybe it was because I hadn't been there before, didn't know my surroundings, just felt a little bit more on edge, safe to say. And I also didn't know where I was going. So I knew I wanted to go to Agra, and I had been told by some people in a train station, once you get to this metro station, you exit it, and there'll be loads of buses going to Agra.
You were busing to Agra
On the
both
same
ways.
day
Right,
I
right,
landed.
right. I understand. Yeah. I took a train there my first time.
Okay, so I was recommended the train, and I was also recommended like a tourist bus, air conditioned.
Local bus you went for, didn't you?
Well, you got to. So the person I was with, bless her, she was like, just get an air-conditioned tourist bus. It's going to be a bit more expensive, but it'll be an amazing ride. You'll look out the window, you'll see all the nice stuff, and it'll just be overall a much more positive experience for you, having done the flight in the morning and whatever.
Yes.
I saw a local bus, got hounded by the people going, Agra this way, yeah, come with us, whatever. And I thought, against my better judgment, a local has told me, don't do it. But I thought, fuck it.
Get on.
I felt alive. I felt like I was a backpacker again.
Yeah, do you like that? Because we've not really been living as backpackers the last month or two.
I think I even texted you, didn't I? Telling you that I'm like energized now. I'm traveling again. I'm on the road. I'm independent. I'm living these kind of backpacker experiences. And it's so nice to be able to turn that on again after living what is feeling like a bit of a routine, which is also quite comforting.
It's nice to be in a routine, but back to your roots. You were backpacking, you were getting hounded. Get on the bus to Agra.
Yeah.
Wedge yourself in a 2-seat and get on.
So there we are. So we got on the bus. I was thinking, I really hope it's the right one. Hope I don't get taken for a ride in that sense. Obviously, I do want to get taken a ride to Agra. Yeah. Taken on a ride to Agra. And then sat at the back, seat amongst lots of locals. I mean, I was the only white guy on the bus, as you can expect. And then the guy that had got me on the bus came all the way to the back, wrote out my ticket, one ticket to Agra, one adult or whatever, 400 rupees.
Wow.
And so I was like, 400 rupees, that's $4 to get all the way to Agra. It was about 4 hours. Fine, yeah. So I thought, yeah, probably, that's fine. And then as the guy left, after me giving the money, I gave him a 500 rupee note, 100 change, all square, no problem at all. I looked at the couple next to me.
Oh, no.
And the couple next to me, Indian couple, they'd been charged 500 on their ticket for 2 tickets.
And I know you hate that. I know you to be a keen observer of what other people are paying for something.
Yeah, I'm no mathematician, but that says to me that tickets should be 250.
You've been charged double.
Yeah. I mean, it's not fair, is it?
It's not fair.
So I thought to myself, is it really worth the hassle? That was a quick conversation with myself because I thought, yes, it is fucking worth the hassle. So I ran to the front of the bus.
I've seen you return a pear that you felt you were charged too much for in a Canadian supermarket. I was feeling unwell and I needed to get out of the supermarket, and Adam said, wait there, I'm going to return this pear.
Yeah.
So this is a man that will make a fuss if he feels shortchanged.
Look after the pennies, the pounds will look after themselves.
That's what our mothers used to tell us.
Yeah.
And it holds true in the context of either having a friend who's ill and needs to get in the car quickly, but you've got a pear, or in this context, you've been charged over $2 too much for a ticket.
Well, look, without this story going on too long, I also felt like I was trying to change the behaviour of the guy who was issuing the ticket. Because if he thinks he can get away with that, there's all of the backpackers in the future that are also going to suffer.
You're saving, really. So who knows how many £2 that might add up to eventually.
Yeah. Not that it's my responsibility. I didn't want to put myself in any danger or make the rest of the trip awkward. However, I thought, you're not getting one over on me. Ran to the front of the coach. I said, oi, you've charged me too much money. And he just shoved me back and said, get to the back. He just completely, just very dismissive, almost aggressive. It's 400. There you go. You got your ticket. Get to the back. And then guess what happened?
There was some additional piece of information that you weren't aware of that meant that you were actually charged the right amount.
I think if you had 100 guesses, you wouldn't guess.
Okay.
The entire back of the bus stood up and started abusing the ticket guy.
Oh!
Shouting at him.
Adam. Tripology.
Yeah, just started shouting at him, abusing him, speaking to him in Hindi and all this kind of thing. And he sort of immediately sort of backed down after a very brief kind of, no, shut up, trying to calm everyone down. More and more people got involved and they were shouting at him, waving their tickets in the air. And I was like, fucking hell, this is mental.
Yeah.
And then he came to the back very sheepishly and gave me the 150 rupees
Viva
back.
la revolution, baby.
It was sick.
I like that.
Yeah,
Nice.
I always walked to the back and like, high-fiving people.
I'm into that, mate. I'm into that.
Yeah, I mean, something like that for me seems like a rare occurrence. I didn't think that would be the eventuality. I thought it was going to be a little altercation. I was probably just going to end up paying the full price. But yeah, it was really, really nice. And then it was very, I felt very connected to the back of the bus from then.
Yeah.
Then on, you know, it was
The
nice.
bus or the people there?
The people on the bus.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think you belong at the back of the bus? Because that, you know, going to school when you're young.
The back of the bus was where the cool kids were.
Yeah, it always is.
Yeah. So I felt disconnected from that. I was not one of the cool kids.
I can't believe that for a second.
That's true. I was more into my trumpet than I was my friends. But I do like the back of the bus.
Not literally. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I mean that's it really. I ended up paying a good price and felt very comfortable with the people around me to the point where we were even sharing food. You know, have you noticed that sometimes you stop at points along the way and there'll be people that get on to the bus and then sell their items, food and this kind of stuff. It might just be a little chickpea dish, or it might be, you know, some fruit or whatever, some cucumber that's, you know, loaded with salt.
Man.
And, you know, everyone's like sharing food, and I don't know, it's just
it goes to show the spirit of the Indian people, doesn't it? Not only were they willing to share their food with you, but willing to help you out in such a hostile environment. I think that's really beautiful. Maybe also speaks to the kind of traveller you are, because I would have bit the inside of my own lip having been overcharged. I might have hurled some surreptitious abuse at the driver when I was getting off or something, but I don't think I would have forced that situation. I certainly wouldn't have been helped with by all the people on the bus. I don't think I have that kind of air about me.
No. Well, maybe we should travel together more often.
Yeah.
We would have paid the right price the first time.
We balance each other out quite well, don't we?
Yeah.
Speaking of balance.
Go on.
Let's balance our own minds.
Off into the bed break.
With a brief meditation break. See you in a sec. And like a 100 rupee note sliding out of the pocket of a bus conductor and back to our eponymous hero's pockets, let the conscious mind return into the old noggin as we embark with you on your journey around the rest of Delhi.
Yeah. Well, that was on the way to Agra. We'll talk about maybe the Taj Mahal in a minute.
Yeah.
But I've got another funny little story to tell you that maybe gives you an idea of the kind of pickles I get myself in when I'm being trusting Adam, the ever-trusting Adam.
Jams, pickles, little incongruities.
Yeah, don't say jams. Yeah. You'll understand why. Okay. Anyway, so again, got back from Agra at the same metro station where I got the bus to Agra. Mm-hmm. And me talking about enjoying this kind of independent backpacker-style-y life that I'm now living, I thought what would be quite a cool way to get from where I am now to the hotel that I'm going to stay in.
Segway.
Segway. There weren't too many segways around, but I was looking. I've got my auto, my rickshaw, my tuk-tuk, all that kind of stuff. Could get a metro, that'd be fine. Could get pretty close. Could get a cab. It was very hot. Although there was a guy over the other side of the road who had a motorbike and 2 helmets. So
now, what does that mean?
Yeah, well, I was looking at. He was like waving me over and doing that kind of. It was like a half whistle, half kiss teeth thing that you might know what I'm talking about. It was, you know, he was like waving me over and going, this kind of...
Yeah. Not sure that has anything to do with taxis. I think that might just be you.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right. Well,
maybe.
But that explains a lot, because when I went over there, he said, like, this guy was like, where are you going? And I told him the neighbourhood I was going to. He said, that's fine. I'll give you a lift on my back of my motorbike.
Okay.
And I was already looking at how much an auto would cost me.
You get yourself into some situations, don't you?
Well, that's quite, like, on the back of a motorbike. That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. But was he a taxi driver? Was he a moto taxi driver?
No, he just had a motorbike. Just a guy with a motorbike.
And you just approached him?
Well, he was calling me over doing that kiss teeth thing.
Right.
Kissing teeth thing.
Yeah, the kissing teeth thing that everyone knows about that happens when you're travelling in India.
Have you not seen that? When Indian men try and get the attention of other Indian men, I see them doing it.
Right.
Is that not normal?
Maybe. I've never experienced it. Directed my way.
Well, he looked interested, and I was trusting.
Yeah.
So I thought, he's got a motorbike. I need to get somewhere. We had a quick chit chat, and
I respect it.
I told him the price I was willing to pay based off how much an auto was going to cost, and he was like, "Yeah, that's fine. I'll give you a ride." And then someone else came over who spoke very good English. I don't know if he was like organising the autos in the area or something. A very, very busy underpass. You know, road going overhead, lots of markets and stuff. Taxi drivers flying around. It was a very, very busy market area. This guy came over and said, "Look, you're going to have to guide him on your phone because he knows the neighbourhood, but he doesn't know exactly where you're going. This is going to be the price."
Someone else has got involved.
Yeah. Well, loads of people were trying to get my business, and I chose the motorbike because I thought it was the coolest story.
Yeah, okay.
Wind in my hair, all that kind of thing.
Content-minded, yeah.
Yeah. And then I got on the back of the motorbike with the helmet on and everything.
Wind on your helmet.
Yeah. And then as we drove off, I hadn't spoken to the guy really, so I thought, I'm going to be on the bike with this guy for about 20 minutes across Delhi. I'll break the ice. I'll just start by saying, "Hey, what's your name?"
Difficult to communicate when you're on the back of it. I know from personal experience, if you're riding at the back of a motorcycle, hard to talk to the person riding.
Quite difficult. So I had to sort of lean round, right?
It's quite romantic.
Quite romantic.
Kissing noises.
Yeah.
whispering into an ear.
Well, it's about to get a little bit hot under the collar, a bit heated.
Yeah.
Because I said, "What's your name?" And his response was, "My name is Shayad and I'm gay."
Interesting.
I was like, "Okay, alrighty."
Do you think people more often should, after saying what their name is, follow up with something about them? Like, I'm Alan and I'm a podcaster. Or
I don't mind. I don't mind. It's the fact that he then went on to say, "Do you need sex?" and pushed his bum back onto my crotch area. So
okay.
yeah,
And you're
I'm now
on
on
a
his,
motorcycle going at some speed with this.
hurtling down a highway. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
You know, I mean, I know that I'm nowhere near my destination, so now I've just got to manage this situation. I've thought, should I have got an auto? Would there have been less kind of uncomfortable silences? And I don't know. I was very honest with him. I said, "Look, Shayad,
We find ourselves in a difficult position now.
I'm well aware that you're probably in control of this situation, but I would quite like it if we just got to the destination, you dropped me off for said 200 rupees.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't immediately transgress into a sex attack.
yeah, it was quite a lot of fun, the whole journey. I think someone else...
Was it?
Yeah, because I felt like I could manage the situation.
Did you?
Yeah, it was fine.
Good.
It was fine. I controlled it. I managed his expectations. I said, no, I don't need sex. And I think someone else in that position might have just asked to get off immediately.
You know, I'm thinking about what I would have done.
What do you reckon you would have done? I know you.
I would have said
Would you have got on in the first place?
no.
Yeah, that's the difference.
But also, after that initial remark, I would have said, that's cool. Please just drive. And I think I'd have given him very short shrift. If he'd said it to me again, I'd have shut it down.
Yeah.
I'd have said, just keep on driving. And I think if he'd carried on persisting, it's not so much the remark that he was a gay gentleman. Lovely, nice to know that.
Yeah.
It's more the reversing back into and the inquiry about whether you required sex that would have made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've just been on a very long bus journey, wanted to get there, thought, hey, it's content, fuck it. You know, it's going to be a funny story to tell Alan.
Yeah.
And then when we got to the destination, I had to go through the inevitable kind of, he was looking at me with his big sort of doughy eyes, fluttering his eyelashes, saying, oh, more money, give me more money. Can you at least buy me a drink and all this kind of stuff?
Right.
And he didn't mean an alcoholic drink like we were in a bar. He meant like...
It'd become a date.
No, he just wanted more money out of me, I think, and he was trying to say, "Oh, come on,
Yeah.
it's worth it." Little did he know, I actually asked him to drop me off 2 roads over from where I was actually staying. So there's a little backpacker, little top tip.
Don't
Yeah, I'm trusting, but I'm not that trusting.
take the hit of inconvenience to not go where you want to go in case someone tries to.
Yeah. So they didn't know exactly where I was staying, so they didn't come back later on with some friends.
I'll throw a spanner in the works of your tip. I get people to drop me off where I live. I just choose more trustworthy people to take me places.
Yeah, also a different approach. I mean,
Just be different travellers, different ideas, different approaches. Yeah, I get in an actual taxi or use Uber and go to where I want to go. You hop on the bike of a predatory homosexual and then go 2 blocks over.
As the old saying goes, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Agra, mate, somewhere that you've been, the Taj Mahal, obviously the star of the show in that region, as well as the fort there, Agra Fort, nice red sandstone, lovely.
Yeah, what was your impression of the Taj Mahal? For me, I went on Christmas Day. It was very busy. But very beautiful.
I would say the Taj Mahal, quite funny. You know the river that runs behind it?
Yeah.
I went down there for the sunset the night before.
Is that the Ganges?
Don't know, I'm afraid. I don't think it is.
Okay.
But I went there the night before and watched the sunset, and the Taj Mahal was like off to my left, and it almost took me by surprise. It was quite anticlimactic in that sense. I was like, oh, that's the Taj Mahal.
Right, okay.
And it was just there, and then I went back the next morning for the sunrise, absolutely took my breath away.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
much better in the sunrise.
Really, really amazing experience. I would highly recommend anyone go to the Taj Mahal. Get in there at 5:30 a.m.
The crowds were dispersed.
I reckon there was like maybe 40 people in there when we went.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it was incredible.
Did you get all the nice pictures of you like touching the tip of the Mahal?
No, I didn't. I was actually taking pictures of this guy that I'd gone there with for the most part, and he said, "Oh, I can reciprocate. I can take photos."
This
of
is
you."
the motorcycle driver from the day before.
No, different guy.
Okay.
Different guy. Didn't.
We're married now.
Better looking. Didn't have a motorbike.
Yeah.
But no, super guy. We spent the whole day together, and I just basically took some choice photos of him, some nice ones of the Taj. We walked around together.
Photos. That means what?
Well, I thought they were just quite artistic shots.
All right. Yeah, nice. So you told me this about the towers on either side of the Taj Mahal lean away slightly.
Yeah, and I've been told it's actually for the purposes of, well, acting against sort of earthquake threat and them falling away as opposed to falling towards the Taj. Although I have mentioned this before, if you are really cheap, and I am, and you don't want to pay for a guide, what you can do is just go and stand near another group who have paid for a guide, and you get all the information for free.
Did you go inside the Taj Mahal?
Did.
Nice.
Yeah, really
it's beautiful inside, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't have said it's as decorative as I thought it was going to be. You know, in churches and cathedrals, often the ceilings are just sort of laden with lots of lovely paintings.
Yeah, it's not a Sistine Chapel.
No.
But it's very architecturally beautiful.
Isn't it symmetrical as well? Completely symmetrical.
Yeah, most buildings.
Not most buildings.
No,
I don't think
just
so.
the Mahal.
I don't know. But yeah, it's lovely to walk around. Highly recommend it. Really good fun. Good crowd in there as well. And we left at about 8:30 when it started to get busy. And I remember thinking, thank goodness we bothered to get up. Because there's no real excuse, is there? I was chatting to the guy I was with, and we were walking around saying, there's really no excuse not to wake up at 5:30 every now and again to go and see something like that.
People always do this once they've woken up for a sunrise.
Yeah.
I feel like the first thing they do is, I should do this every day. Sunrise is so beautiful, but really, I mean, the reason is because you are tired for the rest of the day, aren't you? If that's not your sleep schedule.
Yeah, I do think it's also amazing how much you can get done if you do wake up at 5:30.
That is true.
In a
But then
day.
you have to go to bed early as well.
Yeah, we didn't because the Champions League game was on. Right. But yeah, had an amazing time in Agra. Short and sweet. Wasn't a massive fan of the city, I'll be honest.
I mean, it is the Mahal and not much else, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, I saw a goat in a cardigan.
In
In
Agra.
Agra.
Did you?
Yeah, I sent you a picture of it. Do you not remember?
Yeah, no, I do. You sent me the same picture a couple of times.
Yeah, I always send it. Now, whenever Adam says something that I'm confused about how to respond, I send him a picture of Le Petit Chèvre, the little...
I didn't know you could speak French.
There you go. It's a goat. It's a little cardigan.
So that was there. And then obviously I made my way back from Agra after having a very nice 24 hours and then arrived in Delhi.
Okay.
Which is also somewhere you've been.
Late in the episode to just arrive in Delhi, but I'm interested in hearing what went down there.
Ate a lot of good food, which what's someone from Delhi called? A Delian.
Yeah,
perhaps,
sure.
probably. We know lots of people that have either been to Delhi or are from Delhi, and almost all of them will say that the food up north and in Delhi specifically is far superior to the food in Mumbai.
Punjabi food.
Yeah, a lot of Punjabi food, definitely. North Indian food, and it's just more flavourful. They use ghee as opposed to anything else like oils and margarine and all that kind of stuff. And I had a couple of really amazing dishes that were super rich, very flavourful, a bit more spicy, which is what we've been looking for.
Yeah. Difficult to find spicy food down here.
So, I mean, I was being shown around by a local, so I feel like I probably got a very specific, focused tour. You know, it wasn't like I was eating anything. There was no risk of it being bad because they know I'm very interested in food.
Right.
So that was an amazing experience.
They took you to the best places they could find.
Hope so. And some that for them it was very nostalgic because they kind of grew up going there and they were in their local neighbourhood and this kind of stuff.
They take you places that they loved as a kid.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and that makes a really big difference.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's nice to have a little window into what life was like there for them. The other thing I would say is I noticed it to be much greener in Delhi.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Like the streets were greener.
Yeah, many more trees and also many more parks.
Because I'm already surprised by how green Mumbai is oftentimes.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's quite green.
Yeah, I mean, there's trees here, but when you go to Delhi, you think, wow, there's lots of trees and plants and
parks
within
the city.
Yeah, definitely, definitely open parks, which I really loved. It feels very big. The traffic was horrendous, and on one night, and you got sent this video, we were caught in a dust storm.
Oh, there was one here as well.
Yeah,
in Mumbai.
They were like a couple of days apart, weren't they?
Yeah, they were crazy. Hey,
it was mental. I've never ever seen anything like that. And we were driving around the streets. We went like across a cross section of 4 roads. Light had just turned from red to green, crossed the road, and it was like we'd driven into the fucking apocalypse.
It's so apocalyptic. The sun kind of dips in intensity because of all the dust. I was sat in a cafe in the one here, and my laptop just started to get gritty under finger.
What, because dust was coming into the...
Yeah. And I just realised that it was dusty. It just got dark, and then my laptop was like sort of sandy and gritty. I was like,
that's so
geez.
crazy. Did you stay inside for the whole thing?
No, I was outside. And I turned round, like in a little cafe outdoor area.
Yeah.
Turned round, chaos, dust everywhere.
That's so crazy. So we were driving in it, and you can obviously see the wind is sweeping everything across the road. But then trees started falling down. We could see trees that had already fallen down. Cars were being abandoned. People on their motorbike were running for cover. And then we saw the huge sign, like a billboard that had snapped in half and almost come onto the road. I'd just never experienced anything like it. We were really, really
here
scared.
as well, the billboard, and 6 people unfortunately died as a result, right?
Yeah.
24 people injured. Crazy.
I think there's now an ongoing case about liability.
Yeah, crazy.
It's really, really awful. But you got to be careful in those situations. Obviously, that's tragic. And even when it comes to us stopping at traffic lights, we tried not to stop under trees that looked like they were moving a lot. And it went on for at least an hour or two. It's very, very dangerous to be out in those sorts of conditions.
Visibility's low, wind's crazy. Yeah. Did it rain at all?
Yeah, it rained a little bit. And I was really worried about what would happen, and obviously for other people's safety and stuff. Didn't stop us going out for a cocktail afterwards.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
There you
gotta
go.
relax after something like that.
You just got to keep moving.
So overall, Delhi or Mumbai?
Oh, it's such a tough question.
Did you enjoy Delhi though? You enjoyed your time there?
I had an amazing time, but again, it was quite bespoke. It was tailored to my needs, my interests. I've also been in Mumbai for 8 weeks, as opposed to just your 5 or 6 days. So I don't feel like it's very fair for me to compare the two. I think, as we all know, as the tripologists know, as you know, I reckon I could live in either.
And was it hard to be away from me for so long?
Of course it was. I missed you on day one.
There you go.
And that's,
Well, good to know.
yeah.
Listen, I've got a really funny, interesting story to tell you in the Patreon section.
Amazing.
So I want to go there right now, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
But before we do, let's encourage them to get involved.
Yeah. Patreon.com/tripologypodcast. Send us an email.
Tripologypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and head over to the Instagram where we've been doing lots of cool stuff.
@tripologypodcast.
Yeah, we hope to see you all there. Thanks
Yeah.
ever so much for listening.
We'll see you there.
Bye.